Hey everybody, it's Gerald here. It's Monday, it's a new week. I was kind of thinking about what to discuss. Hello, whoever's joining. There are so many things to talk about, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just try to choose what speaks to me. Um, when I make these videos, but one thing is just like this whole new season, spring. Like, I don't know, I've never been so excited about spring before. It's not that this winter was particularly harsh or anything, but it's just like, wow, we've been indoors all these months and toiling away and just making do, and then like spring's like an invitation to come outside and be in nature again. So I was like, let's just call this video working with nature. Um y'all, if you study any of the mystic arts or you deal with any ancient spiritual rites or practices, I've learned that it's all about nature. Um and connected to nature. Like we do live in this sort of like artificial world that we've created. Especially nowadays with modern technology, we have um heating and cooling, we have the internet, we have our cars to get us from place to place. So like, during the winter months, it's like, yeah, we still go outside periodically, but it's normally just um en route to somewhere else. And we created this whole artificial world where we don't have to really deal with nature or the elements. So that can sort of make us think that we're not a part of it. And that idea is actually, um, hey, Nicole. Yes, all is going very well. I'm excited to talk to you too. So, yeah, it's promoted through our modern take on, religions and spirituality because, it's so anti-pagan. Yeah, Nicole, I'm glad you like it. Please comment, encourage others to come. Um, it has such a down. It's so repressive. Speaks so badly about paganism, which is nature-based religion, and it just makes sense that we would find spirituality in nature. I mean, well, let's see what this idea of like man and woman not being of nature, it's like I can speak from Christianity's perspective because that's how I was raised, but like it's taught that paganism is bad. Um, there's one God, and that woman is not really recognized as a major player in spirituality. It's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So it kind of creates this idea, which really plays in the subconscious, that like nature is evil. You should disconnect from it. Hey Tiffany, what's up? Welcome. And so having like removed a lot of that dogma for myself, I'm starting to, just really connect with nature and understand that like magic and the special spiritual forces that are in nature is actually our source of strength. It's our empowerment. And especially in this modern world, we disrespect nature so much. Hey Courtney, welcome. We disrespect nature so much. It's because this whole idea has been created that yeah, right. Monday is that we don't owe anything to nature. We're not a part of it. The world is ours to do whatever with, which ultimately means just destroying. We can disrespect animals, plants, environments, um, things, the air. And it's like that is so, I always talk about empowerment versus disempowerment. It's the most disempowering thing that, not only is this idea promoted, but we have these companies, corporations. My neighbors are being so loud. these corporations which have made choices for us about our planet, and then we feel disempowered. We feel like there's not much we can really do, you know. One thing is waste management. I find really disempowering. Just throwing trash in the ocean, plastic, you know, that we know is not biodegradable, and we're just all made to feel like, oh, well, there's not much I can do with it, or like to do anything about it, would be too inconvenient for me. So I'm just going to continue not caring and not thinking about where stuff comes from or where it goes. I'm just going to consume, consume, consume. Going to use a product one time and then throw it away. Yeah, hemp is, you know, and there's a lot more conscious now, thank goodness. So there's a lot more products available. Hemp is a great one. Thank you, Courtney. I need to research that more. But y'all, everything, can you just like just pay attention to how much you consume and how much trash accumulates in your house in 1 week? Now imagine that being everybody's household all the time. It's just staggering, and the fact that we're made it's well hidden, so we don't think about it, you know. But there's trash going directly to the ocean. They used to say the squirrel was the size of Texas, which Texas is one of the largest states. You all in the United States, there's a squirrel in the Pacific Ocean that was that big. But it's all carefully hidden. It's carefully tucked away. You don't ever have to deal with the reality of that because there's these powers that be that don't promote that knowledge. Um, Another thing is you all the meat industry. That's one that I've dealt with because I recently went vegetarian and I've never ever really felt right about eating meat per se, but I always kind of like swept it under the rug because that's what I was so used to. That's the way I was raised. I enjoy eating meat. Absolutely, Courtney. Like it's people don't even have a consciousness and awareness of ways to do that. You know, they think they must live this way that's been handed to them, and it's like, no, y'all, we can do so many things. You know, and not just the waste. You know, not just the meat that we consume, y'all. By the way, the way that meat is produced in this country, hey, Angela, it's just absurd. You know, so really consider, you know, alternatives. And I'm not saying you have to give up eating meat. You know, I found spiritually by giving up eating meat, it's opened me up in so many like profound ways. But you don't have to give it up altogether. Just think about where it comes from, how it's produced. Is it responsible? Because there's three things that are definitely facts about meat industry. Yeah, totally, Nicole. But even I've heard even those aren't as good as they purport to be. They're purported to be, but they are better. Um, I started gaining awareness. And I watched this movie called The Earthlings on YouTube years ago, and I didn't really want to eat it, but I've always felt, yeah, Nicole, that's true. It's true. Um, I've always felt an obligation to, if I'm going to consume meat, I need to at least watch and be aware of what happens to it. So I watched that documentary, y'all. I didn't even watch the whole thing. I got about 30 minutes in, I couldn't watch anymore. But a lot of people won't do that because they can't deal with the reality of meat and something that they have a hand in. You know, it's like, oh, well, I just eat it, I don't boil. It's like if you're supporting that, it's called The Earthlings. Courtney it won an Emmy, I think, or a Grammy, or an Oscar at some award. But it's a really just straight up graphic depiction of what happens to animals, and they look at different industries. One is meat for consumption, one is animal testing, and then one is like fur trade. Um, and it just shows you what actually happens, and it's just astounding. It's crazy, but most people are not prepared to deal with that um, level of reality and consciousness. Yeah, I mean that's the movie. If you want to watch it, it's really good. I didn't even watch the whole thing, but like it's funny how organizations like PETA get such a bad stigma when all they do is advocate for humanity of animals. Granted, they're radical in ways, but I mean that's good. You need radical stuff to wake people up. But meat consumption, and then y'all just straight up. Oh, let me just say, there's three reasons why meat consumption is bad. One is it harms animals, which is awful, and people don't recognize that enough. They always, I know a lot of vegetarians be like, well, I'm not vegetarian because of the animals. It's like, well, I am. And I'll tell you all, it's fucked up. Like, meat is stuff you literally put in your body. And so to consume animals that have been tortured and there's like a bunch of negative energy around that, you consume that without consciousness, and then you want to call yourself spiritual or spiritually aware, it just doesn't quite go together to me. So, and I'm just saying all this once again from my perspective, do what you do. I think it's worth discussing though. Um, and like I said, you don't have to give up meat, but you should definitely consider like alternative ways. There are people who responsibly raise meat. Um, And if you could just cut down on your meat consumption, it could help you out, in many ways. Another thing is, yeah, Nicole, it's interesting because if we all had to go out and hunt meat, I think it would be different. Like, I think I'd be more okay with that and eating wild game, which has lived a happy life in the wild. It's like, it's a matter of survival then. That's one thing. But the way these animals are raised for our mindless consumption, like we don't think about the work that goes into it, the lives that are sacrificed for it, and it's it's more than convenient. It's ever present. I'm hard pressed to find vegetarian items, especially late at night. Um, when there's meat everywhere, there's cheese everywhere. It's like abundant. It's like animals had to die for that. It's crazy. Yeah, Angela, and it's all part of a program to like disempower you, like I was mentioning about nature and the disconnection of nature. Nature is our source of power. We are from nature. And so the more they can remove you from that, the more they can fill your diet with meat and things that aren't necessarily good for you, the more they can disempower you and have control. The second part, you all, is meat is bad for your health. Like the abundance of meat and from the way it's produced, it's not good. Like protein, yeah, you need protein, but like the way it's sold to you is all propaganda from the meat industry to make you think you're dependent on it, you need it, and it's really not helpful. I mean, look at the rates of diabetes, heart disease, um, whatever, between vegetarians and meat eaters. Look at the rates of it in this country, and you'll see it's not quote unquote healthy. We need to examine our practices. And the third thing is it's bad for the environment. It releases so much nitrogen into the environment. Yeah, all the antibiotics. That was what I was going to get into, Nicole. I'm going to go back to that. All of the nitrogen produced from the meat facilities, clear cutting forests and stuff to have pastures to raise animals. Like it's so many practices. So it harms, us in three ways, It harms animals, it's bad for our health and bad for the environment. So y'all really look at that practice and see how people lived before we had this commercial society where it's like we have everything so convenient. Yeah, like people ate meat, but they didn't eat it like we do. And they ate a lot more vegetables and drank a lot more water. They didn't drink as much soda. So like that's another environmental issue. Look at your diet, especially incorporating more plant-based things into your diet. Um, Sustainability, you all. So being on this path awakens you to that. There's a system at play. It's designed to disempower you, and it uses certain things like, the very food you consume, the very energy that you put into your body. A lot of people can read a label and not even be able to pronounce half of the shit on the ingredients. You're putting that in your body, okay? And that's not a choice that you necessarily made. Like you chose to put it in your body, but you're trusting some corporation who has whatever objectives or ideas to put that directly into your body. Like, think about that. Somebody is making decisions in some room for whatever reason about what you put in your body, and you don't feel like you really have a say in that. Your culture dictates. Oh, well, I'm this, so I eat this. Your family dictates. Oh, well, we've always done this. So your socioeconomic status dictates. Oh, you're this, so you eat this. It's like, oh, interesting. Like Are the people with money, is that what they're consuming? The people with an education, the people with means, are they eating those same things? Are they subjected to that? No. So like really consider that you all. And the thing is you do have power. You do have the ability to choose what you want. You do have the ability to reject. Another thing you all is the all the chemicals, like Nicole was saying, stuff they put in the animals that you don't even think about. So many steroids to meet the level of production necessary to provide for this consumption. This yeah, Angela, this like in order to like I said, sustainability, in order to provide that much meat so that you can have those McDonald's hamburgers that cost like nothing, or you can have, you know, chicken from the chicken joint down the block, which costs next to nothing. Like they have to do stuff to meet the production demands, so they inject all those animals with so many steroids and chemicals that a lot of them don't even live through the process because their hearts will explode and they die like because their body grows so fast and the hearts can't keep up. So these are things that you don't really. Another good movie, y'all, is Food Inc. I watched that one years ago. Um, there's a lot of really good information now in movies about it, but just think about these things, you all, because they seem so out there, but it's created to seem that way. The little image you see on the boxes, it's like a happy farm and sunshine and a field. It's like a lot of animals, that's not their reality. They grew up in factories. Food Inc. is not that bad, Angela. You should watch that one. It's pretty easy to watch. It's not too graphic or anything. Now, Earthlings is graphic. But yeah, Courtney, even those things that are promoted, you got to look into them because they're never quite what you hear they are. But yeah, think about these things, you all. Yeah, the oils. Yeah, definitely, Nicole. And that's a great way. All right, I'm going to get around to that. I swear. This ended up being a way bigger topic than I anticipated. But y'all, like when you start to empower yourself, you start to think about these things because the stuff you put in your body has a direct effect on you. And this society promotes you not thinking about those things. But when you care about your body and your space, you are what you eat. You are the energy that you consume. So it's worth it to think about these things, like your responsibility to Mother Earth. Well, how much trash are you consuming? How much trash are you putting out into the environment knowing that they dump it into the ocean? And there are ways, y'all, they don't teach you, but there are ways around it. You can make your own deodorant. I've done it. It works, okay? Actually, I'm currently doing that. I do use natural deodorants when I have well, I use natural deodorants that I purchase, and there are great companies that use recyclable materials. There's some really great products that work really, really well and smell amazing, but you got to be open to trying them. What's promoted is, oh, those don't work, and it's not the same. And I'm used to using that. Y'all, deodorant has like metals in it, and you're putting that on your body every day. It has all kinds of chemicals, and they go into your glands. We have all these modern diseases, cancer, and all these different kinds of cancers. It's like people are like, I don't know where cancer is coming from and why there's so much cancer now. Yeah, Angela, it's such a big thing. Well, let's think about the food that we eat. Let's think about the chemicals that we put on our bodies every fucking day. Perhaps that has something to do with. Let's think about the electronics we use and the microwaves and the waves that go all around. Yeah, it works just as well, Angela. It's funny because it's not. It may be a little different, but you'll live. You can find ways, but it's like having these chemicals mess with your body and the glands and stuff like that. Like that's something you should think about. If you think it's not a problem after you've researched, fine, continue to use it, but educate yourself on these things. Y'all, fluoride. That's another one. Fluoride and water. A lot of people just dismiss it. They brush over the fact that they put fluoride in the water that you consume and put fluoride in all these products. And if you read the history of fluoride and how it was used and what it was used for, you'll know it has a much greater significance than just being good for your teeth. So, and once again, that's something that's decided for you and that you kind of just acquiesce to. It's not like anybody said, "Hey, would you like to have fluoride in your water? Fluoride in your dental products?" And all that. It's like, no, they just did it. So anyway, getting back to the subject that we started with, you all, like, develop a respect for nature. Understand that we come from nature, and a lot of the things about this society um, is to remove you from nature, which is your source of power, your connection to your Mother Earth. Um, and you can make decisions to connect back to that power. I think any type of pagan spirituality or religion, any earth-based religion is going to bring you back to that. When I started my spiritual practice, um, actually doing like quote unquote magic, doing that in around August of last year, I did not really understand. I started to understand that, like, cultivating that magic and that experience would really connect me back to the earth because it's all about natural cycles. I started out doing candle magic, and then I started working with the energy of the moon and seeing there's a real freaking power there, you all. Like, and that, like, I've always had a healthy respect to the earth because that's the way I was raised. My parents really instilled that in me. And so I've always loved animals and being in nature. I used to camp growing up, and I was in the Boy Scouts, which is a horrible organization, but I was in the Boy Scouts and learned a lot through that. And but I did not know, like, the mystical secret powers of nature. And so the more I developed that, the more I started to understand, oh, the reason we work with stones and we work with herbs and aromatherapy and oils is because those are all elements from nature, you all. Anybody who set up an altar understands, you basically you're bringing the natural elements inside. And sometimes you go out in nature and you work with the elements, but that's what it all is. You collect your water. The different waters had different meanings. You have snow water, rainwater, stream water, ocean water. They all had different purposes and meanings, different types of sand, all the different herbs. Um, just flowers and just different natural elements, they all contribute to your connection to the divine. It's natural, it's ancient, it's working with nature, and everything about our current society is like kind of anti that. And so it doesn't really surprise you that that's why we're so disempowered. It's all about technology, which there's nature and technology. We use crystals and all of the electronics that we use. But the people in charge know the power of nature and they use it for them. But yeah, it's all about technology. It's all about education and institutions of learning, not just your own natural connection with nature and the divine. It's more about, yeah, interesting. Yeah, Angela. Yeah, and like New York is a special place. Um, I think it's like an energy center. But just being around water increases your awareness of nature and, like, anyway, all that's to say, having developed an even deeper connection with nature, I see the importance of, like, these natural cycles. And this time of year, which has been really special for like some years now because of different events that have happened in my life. This time of year is the ending and the beginning. It's the Alpha and the Omega. It's Pisces and Aries. And so it's the beginning of one cycle, the beginning of another, and it's a rebirth. And so to not only know it, but actually look forward to it, celebrate it, anticipate it, incorporate that energy into what you do. It's like just extra special. And so I've been super excited. I've done a few Ostara rituals this year, and I'm just really excited to be able to get out of the house and just be in the warmth, even go into nature, like go to a stream, go to some woods nearby, go to a park and just like really connect. A lot of people talk about the importance of grounding. I don't have much wisdom about that at this moment, but I can imagine it's very effective and very helpful. So, getting out in nature is a way of being grounded. connecting with nature. I have a tree in my neighborhood that I kind of have adopted. And it sounds silly, but like as it goes through the seasons, I see how it sort of relates to it. Like now it's about to gain leaves, and I haven't really seen it with the leaves and everything since I've adopted it. So it's like great to celebrate that. And um, trees represent a lot in the shamanic studies. Trees represent the lower, mid, and upper worlds. And trees represent your roots and being connected. Um, So yeah, y'all, that's what the ancients did. They practiced nature religions, and we've been taught that that's bad. But like, y'all, that's where all of our power is, and our ability to connect with nature and the divine through nature. And so, as you do these practices, understand that's where it comes from. That's the reason you celebrate the elements and call on them for their protection. That's the reason that you bring these natural elements into your home. That's the reason you celebrate these rituals and these holidays at the times of year. My awareness about the power of nature is all of these things that we celebrate, you all, that they've made these commercial holidays or these religious holidays, they're all pagan holidays and they all have a pagan significance. They celebrate some sort of natural phenomenon. So, we're lured into thinking that, Christmas is all about toys and gift giving and memories of baking and stuff like that. But it's like, even if you celebrate Jesus and stuff like that, it's great. That's one tradition, but it goes back into traditions much deeper than that. Okay, like that layer has been added on top of what was already there. So when people say the reason for the season, I mean, very important if you're a Christian, but not necessarily the reason for the season because people have been celebrating it long before. And if it were about Christ and that were the reason, they would have done away with all the pagan celebrations and then it would be just all about him. But they haven't. You still bring a tree into your household for Christmas. You still light candles. You celebrate the light that's coming to the world and like you do all these different things. So y'all like don't fall for it. There's an agenda being run on you by the powers that be, and better to like educate yourself, to develop a consciousness and awareness, and then to be empowered enough to make decisions about your life. Okay, whether it's cutting down the amount of chemicals that you bring into your environment, whether it's considering more the amount of waste that you produce. There are ways around it, you all. You can look to the zero waste movement. That's something I'm actually interested in. I did not know you could just really reduce your waste to almost zero, but you can certainly do it. There's ways in simple ways. Um, yeah, deprogram and detox for sure, Tiffany. Tiffany can tell us all about this, I know, because she does a lot of this stuff. You can educate others, and you don't have to be weird about it, but just educate others. Open up their minds a little bit and let them think. The amount of plastic in the ocean is no joke. They say about in 30 years, there'll be more plastic than fish in the ocean. Um, take time to connect with nature and really prioritize that value. You all, just being out in the sun provides major benefits for you all. The Egyptians worship the sun for a reason. Yeah, seriously, Tiffany, it's crazy. Y'all, one of the things about like you really gotta start thinking about these corporations and the tactics that they use because, and I'm not reading from any book, I'm not telling you any of this. This is just information I've collected over the years and insights that I've had spiritually. But like their objective is to sell you stuff. And so one of the things they use, and they mentioned this in the Food Inc. Movie, is that they create this illusion of variety when a lot of the products, especially in this capitalist society, like they want to present stuff to you like you have so many different products and so many choices, but when you strip them all down, they're actually all essentially the same ingredients. They're just packaged differently so that you have an illusion of variety. But they say all of the products in the grocery store that are not like the produce in the outer aisles, they're mostly four grains or four ingredients: potatoes, corn, wheat, and I think soy or something like that. So you think, oh, fruity pebbles and cocoa puffs and da 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 and da da da, they're all the same ingredients. And speaking of nature, one of the very basic things about nature is variety. It's not uniformity. Nature is very diverse. There is lots of variety in nature, thousands of each species and breed of things. So, like, it's not natural to just all be eating the same things all the time, especially the way it's packaged and produced. And, if you're feeding the masses, it makes sense that you would have to do certain things in order to meet the demand of production. You're going to cut corners, you're going to do things that aren't necessarily the best interests of your consumers because you have to do that to create this one product for millions of people, okay? You can imagine the amount of quality that's removed from that product in order to meet that demand. Whereas if you get from buy from a local producer, they're going to be have much more concern about. Yeah, I need to watch them. Y'all, if y'all have any recommendations, put them in the comments. Um, but if you get a local producer who cares about their product, they're not going to have to do those same things, and they're not trying to sell to millions and millions of people. They're trying to just, sell to their community, and they have a lot more concern and care. And they're going to use local ingredients. It's going to be more natural. You don't have to worry about preservatives. You all like. I don't know if you ever think about this, but like the objectives of a mass producer of something are almost opposite of what our objectives are as a consumer. You know, a mass producer is going to want something that's going to have a shelf life, something that can be preserved, something that they can ship across the world, something that is consistent. And as a consumer, my objective is to get a product that is healthy, that is going to fuel my body, that is going to be high quality, that is going to but so it's almost like they're opposite objectives. You all like they're trying to create a product which is going to last, have a shelf life, which means it won't break down and deteriorate before you consume it. And it's going to be something that's easy to make, and so the quality may not be good. But our objective is like you want something that's going to be high quality, that's going to break down well in your body and give you nutrition, deliver nutrition to you. So it's like those are two opposite objectives because they're trying to preserve something and you're trying to get something that's going to fuel you. Twinkies, yes, Nicole. So y'all just start thinking about these things. You like we're in a system that's really not designed to really empower us or benefit us, y'all. We're in this take a number type of society where we support this grand system and the people who are at the top, who are making the decisions and are in charge. But it's really not the best thing for you. So as you become more empowered, more enlightened, you think more about your body, your health, nature, all these things that are gifts to us in this lifetime. Our body is our vehicle. Nature is our environment that's been given to us to create in. As you start to gain more awareness, you're going to think about these things and really just understand like how you can be more empowered by your choices that you make, the way you move in this society, become more of aware of the things. Yeah, intention and energy for sure. Yeah, y'all, and like there are so many avenues now to do this. As much as there's been like, thank you, Tiffany. As much as there's been things to disempower us, now people are becoming more aware, and there are options. You can make your own deodorant or toothpaste, or at least if you don't want to make it, buy more organic products that don't have the chemicals that we mentioned. You can grow your own food, people, just like our grandparents did. You can do that in your city. You can do it in your backyard. It's not hard. We're made to think it's hard, but it's not. If you grow your own food, you know exactly what you're eating. You know where it came from, how it was produced. When you grow your own food, you have a more plant-based diet. You can also do more fermented stuff, which is good for probiotics, healthy bacteria. You're less dependent on purchase stuff from around the world. Also, you'd be less inclined to eat meat because you can grow your own food for free. And not only is it better for you, you start to learn more about the natural cycles of nature. It ties you into the natural cycles. You'll learn things about what it means to sow and water and irrigation and harvesting and why you eat these foods at this time and why you plant at this time and why it's more powerful to plant during when the moon is waxing versus when like you get more in sync with the rhythms of nature. So you can do that. You can consume less and you can create less waste. You can find great ways to use the waste that you do produce so it doesn't just go into landfills. You can do more stuff just for your community. It just spawns so much great stuff. So you all, there is a power in nature, and the more connected you get to it, the more powerful you become. That's it, you all. It's a big topic. I really could break this up into like 3 videos. Maybe I'll do that later on. I didn't anticipate this is what was going to come out when I settled on the idea, but this is really important information. And thank you all for listening. I hope you all have thought about some of these things previously, and if you haven't, I hope that now you begin to get more curious about it because it really is important. The things that are important are not the things that people tell you on TV or things, the ideas that are promoted, and things that are the things that they claim are unimportant are actually very important. So y'all, the environment is important. How we treat it is important. The things that you consume and use is important. You do have power, you know. Big deal, right, Angela? Huge. Um, you do have power to create change, you know. Even though it's like a big monster that we're up against, there's little things that you can do. And you know, it may not be change for the world, which ultimately it is, because when you create change within you, it creates change in the world. But say, let's not even think on that scale, y'all. Change for yourself first. It's just going to empower you and make you like that much of a better person. And then your family, and then your community, and then the world. So think about these things, do what you can, be empowered, be the magical being that you are, be in sync with Mother Nature, and act accordingly. Like, we can do it, you all. Any comments before we go? I'm so glad I made these videos. Like, this is a great reminder for me. Like, it's reminding me of all the reasons that I do the things I do and like just making a much greater priority in my life. Again, like I really don't, I want to look into the zero waste thing because I just don't like consuming so much. Yeah, one thing that I have noticed myself consuming a lot is the bottled water. I love sparkling water and the different flavored waters. And you know, they claim that they recycle things, but I doubt that they recycle 100% of everything. Oh, my pleasure, Tiffany. Thanks for watching and thank you for sharing. But you all they have Soda Stream. I could get a Soda Stream and then just make my own sparkling water and not worry about waste. Y'all, there's so many different creative ways to get around this stuff. Yeah, and Angela, those things are so good. Where did you get them from? Ooh, Nicole, that's a great idea. I love that. I know April has copper water bottles, or at least she was thinking about that. I don't know if she ever got them, but that is a wonderful idea. And y'all know they use copper a lot in ancient Egypt too. Ancient Kemet. Oh yeah, Nicole. Where did you learn that from? You know, not just memory, but it holds a lot of energy. Period. You know, think about the element of water and tarot. It really is all of those things. Oh, interesting, Angela. Yeah, those samosas are good, and the Indian food has a lot of vegetarian options. Y'all like. Maybe I'll do a video on vegetarianism soon, like tomorrow or in the coming days, because it's been a fun ride. Oh yeah, please do, Nicole, and share it in the group. We would love to hear that. There's a great book called well, there's one book that I haven't read. It's called The Secret Life of Plants. It's supposed to be really good, but there's another one about water by this Japanese doctor, and he mentions a lot of different. Yes, Angela, it's a great conduit, and I think it's tied to Venus. But what is the name of the book? But it's about how water holds energy and like you can set it with intentions and how harmonious or disharmonious it is. Like it'll freeze in certain patterns. It'll be reflected in the water. Um, but yeah, there's a lot. And once again, y'all, that's connecting to the elements, to nature. There's so many things to learn, you all, when you get on this path. Like one thing about the water is the way that it comes into our homes is in like right angles because of the piping. So it'll come in like and it'll go up and it'll go like right angles. But in nature, water doesn't flow like that. Water flows in gentle curves. Like if you look at a river and sources of water in nature, it's always gentle curves. It's not like harsh right angles, whatever. So when we get the water in our homes, it's kind of like chaotic. The energy's all messed up because it's gone through this really crazy process to get to our homes. So one way you can fix that and get it back to its like natural type of vibration and energy is to put a crystal in it. Masaru Emoto. Thank you, Angela. I knew it was a Japanese doctor. I wish I knew the name of the book, but that's it. Absolutely. And I've heard about it. I need to go on and read it, but I've heard a lot of the information from the book. Um, but yeah, if you put a crystal in the water, it can help get it back to a natural state. So just a bunch of little cool tricks and tips like that, which will enhance your ability to connect to nature. I don't do the fluoride water. I get my water from the natural food store, and I use the same containers every week. So when you fill them up, it's just like I think 30 or 40 cents for a gallon of water, and it'll last me a decent while, like normally a few days. All right, well, everybody have a wonderful day. Hope this gave you some new ideas. I can't wait to talk to you all in the group. Don't forget to leave your feedback if you are a part of the two card challenge. And